Yes. Good morning, student friends. Welcome to all of you to one more session of our revisionary classes, the free revisionary classes for the July 2020 intermediate and final examination. I hope all of you are taking full advantage of the classes and, getting your concepts clear in the process. As I have been stating in the past, speaker after speaker have been coming and telling us that it is so important that we plan, it is so important that we are passionate, and it is so important that our concepts are clear. And we are having teachers who are really, working very hard to ensure that your concepts are made clear as you go ahead. But as I have been saying, your feedback is very important because with your feedback, we can only ensure that the course gets better. So please ensure that you give feedback on the teachers who teaches you. The mock test papers are already out, and we said that you should try these mock tests in examination conditions. And within 48 hours of the papers being released, we shall also release the suggested answers on the site. Do tally the answers that you have given with the suggested answers, and you will note or you will understand where exactly are you. Today, we are all in digital platform. And you see, digitization is all around us. And we have a council member who personifies digitization in the council. He is C.A. Dayanivas Sharma from Hyderabad. He's just entered the council about 1.5 years back. But in this short period of time, he's already left his stamp of his knowledge on digitization, on the systems and procedures, and he's making a lot of changes in the way the profession and the institute runs vis-a-vis the systems, vis-a-vis the digitization. Today, because of digitization, we are in a position to be relevant, and we are in a position to be important, and we are in a position to deliver. People like Dayanivas Sharma have made a significant contribution. He is also the chairman of the peer review board. Peer review board is something as a board which the institute takes pride in, where the work of one chartered accountant or one chartered accountant is reviewed by his peer. That is, and the chartered accountant. It is something unique to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And Dayanivas Sharma is ensuring that the board functions very efficiently and ensures that the quality of the profession continues to rise. As I said, it is now my proud pleasure and privilege to have Dayanivas Sharma amongst us to share his thoughts. But before Dayanivas speaks to us, we have Sushil Goel, who is the Vice Chairman of Board of Studies, and may I request Sushil to kindly speak a few words. Sushil, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Dayanivas Sharma, for joining us. And I hope you will be the best motivation to the student. Let me remind all my friends that you are considered as young India visionary by the IMG Innovative Media Group in UAE. That itself describes you in totality. And you are the chairman of peer review board, and this is not important for a student, but what is important for a student, you are the convener of member and student services. So all student services, whatever is coming to students, are coming through you only, so that the student can understand how much motivation he is going to give all of you. Thank you, Daya, being here. Now over to Dayanivas.
Respected Chairman Debashish Mitra ji and Vice Chairman Sushil Goel ji, it's indeed a pleasure. Rather, I am thanking you both that during this COVID time we realized so many things. But today you made me realize that I was also a student once upon a time, and I used to go and attend the classes at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was one person who attended, who joined foundation course, and because it was early morning, 7 o'clock, I just dropped out of foundation, and ultimately I had to do my CA course after my graduation. So the students get lazy sometimes, and I was also equally lazy. And Chairman sir, thank you very much for giving a beautiful introduction. But to motivate our guys who are going to attend this session, which is information technology, which people have been always thinking that it's one of the boring subjects which a person should actually prepare for. And fortunate they are that they are getting only for 50 marks. And we were having 100 marks question paper for this. Friends, I can only tell you today, the chairman gave a nice description about, profile about my being in the council, and as also a young dynamic person who is into information technology and leading a lot of things in that. But let me tell you the real daya behind it. I was the person who got zero in information technology when I attempted for the first time. So now you can imagine if a person can get zero in information technology, and today that person at the institute level is driving technology with a lot of other council members. That itself should be a motivation for all you people to, be positive. One good thing which is there about the institute now is this free revisionary class. Hats off to chairman and the vice chairman, the way they have actually envisaged and they have really utilized and created a new benchmark in our education system for going through the learning hub, where you all will be having all these recorded sessions, and we are getting the best of the best faculties from the institute to ensure that you all get advantage of it. And more importantly, I think, you are going to go through the mock test, which is online. Then you are going to get the assessments also done. Then you are also going to have a lot of information, which is going to be your subject related matter will be there with the institute in your e-learnings. So it's going to be something very new and different for all you people. Unfortunately, people were really tied up with regards to the timing of classes they had to attend in the morning or evening. They used to miss out the classes, miss out the office, which is the actual, the backbone of the accounting profession is audit profession is that we have to attend articleship and be there. But now, because of these kind of classes, the biggest advantage is going to be that, at any time in night or morning, you want to get up and start listening to a speaker, you can actually start listening to him, and you can complete your entire learning process. Let me come to the subject and tell you something very important. We at this Institute of Chartered Accountants of India are having Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which talks about a lot of technological things which are coming up. And DISA has been one of the most important part of our system, but though it was more of a certification, but today we are seeing the reality which is coming out of it. And in the age of technology, might be in past, might be 2 months back, people have not realized the importance of technology that much, which has been realized now in last 1.5, 2 months of COVID. When you talk about technology, it doesn't mean that you have to put a programming language and start doing certain things. It means that you need to understand the technology and work around the systems only. We are only people who are the best people who can actually define where the risk and controls are with regards to the financial transactions. Please understand this enterprise information system, which is your 50 marks subject, has beautifully been drafted with the topics which have been covered, which are very contemporary, which are very realistic. Friends, I would like to tell you one thing is that, when you might be doing your articles with a small size, medium size or large size firm. Large size firm get an opportunity that they look into all these aspects very closely. But the smaller and medium size firm, they don't get this kind of opportunity to get exposed to. And this is one subject which is something which you can give. You can be ready with those things tomorrow when you qualify your examinations, which is very important. The moment you get through this examination, when you get into a CA this articleship, then automatically these things are going to give you a lot of importance. And the beauty about this particular topic is the first session which is there, first chapter which is there, is on the automated business processes. And now just see the entire scenario which we are sitting today in the COVID circumstances, where the smallest of the organization is also willing to adopt for technology and ensure that the work is flowing, seamlessly. Now, the first topic which has been given, automated business process, has multiple topics which are being there. Introduction to ERP and benefits and risk and control. Now, these are very simple and straight points which you need to really understand. If you actually just relate for a moment, talk to any senior of yours, tell him to just give a brief description of what it means. Automatically the answer is there. The answer you need not mug up or do anything. It is a clean process oriented questions only, which has to be nothing to be done. Only thing is, yes, we need to write it in a subject manner. Then diagrammatic representation of business process using flowcharts. Trust me, if you can draw a road from your home to your office or from your home to a cinema theater, this is nothing but the process which is to be defined in any accounting business. So this is something which is very clear, crystal clear, and that is very understandable. Step-by-step process. Step-by-step process is to be put in a diagrammatic manner, and the flowcharts are actually being defined accordingly. Risk and control for specific business processes. I could have talked more about risk and control in a higher note, but the point is, for your examination purpose, that is not required. But trust me, the entire future of businesses are going to be on the risk and control, because risk are actually going to impact the going concern of an organization, and controls are those parts which actually ensures that there is a proper control on such kind of risk, and there is a reporting requirement which is there. Apart from that, the topics which are covered are procurement to pay. What do you mean by procurement to pay? The moment I start purchasing, indenting, from there to the payment level. So the steps are very clearly defined in that also. Order to cash means I have received an order and I have to realize cash, whatever the sales which I make. Inventory cycle, again it is very specific, from raw material to production. Hire to retire, it's again a HR policy which is there. Supply chain management. Applicable regulatory and compliance requirement, which talks about the Information Technology Act. Information Technology Act is become most and the most crucial aspect of today's thing, including when you use your WhatsApp, whether you use your mailing, whether you use your Facebook or any social media. Today, Information Technology Act is equivalent to Income Tax Act or GST Act. Please take it. These are all going to be questioned in the court of law, which you need to understand effectively, and certain confirmation which your clients are going to give you. Just imagine if it is coming through a mail, and how do you take an assessment, whether you can take that on record as a documentation or not, how you should do it, what are the aspects that need to be considered, how it is going to be considered as evidence. There are a lot of things which are being discussed in the Information Technology Act. You need to understand that, which is very important. Then only you will understand the importance of audit. Furthermore, with regards to the financial accounting system, it is integrated ERP and non-integrated ERP. ERP earlier for us was meaning only Oracle or SAP. But if you go down to a level where Tally is there, today Tally is also an ERP. So what is ERP? Wherever I am able to be there, I can reach out, and all this aspect, I can have multiple branches. I can actually seamlessly remotely do a lot of activity that is going to be considered in this. Business process modules and their integration with financial and accounting system. It's beautiful. Actually, there are ledgers, sub-ledgers we have read in accounts and commerce. So this is basically talking about that. Reporting system and MIS. I think, friends, one thing which I would like to tell you, this is the only line item where your future is dependent upon. Don't reading this closely, because reporting system, MIS and data analytics and business intelligence, these are the only buzzwords which are being talked about. And if you don't understand the fundamentals now, when you are writing your examination, there will not be any reason for you to study it furthermore. So it is better that you understand that, because entire business is only going to depend on information, and information which is having certain value system and where I can make decision making. Then apart from that, we have business reporting and fundamentals of XBRL. I am fortunate that at the India level, XBRL, I am the board of director there. And this is the extended, extendable business reporting language, which is going to be used and adopted by almost all the companies going forward, only because of the analytics which is going to come out of this. So the language is same, the formats are same. Every company can put their information into that particular format, and all the statistics is going to come out from there. Applicable regulatory and compliance requirement again is something which is relating to Income Tax Act, GST, and all other things. Then we have information system and its components. Components of automated information system, application system, database, networking, and operating with. Trust me, in my office, we are almost close to 120 people. The most effective guys in our firm are the young articles, because they understand that very quick. And this is something which is required, and you should actually be part of that transitional framework of your firms when you join your articles. That, if this knowledge is there with you, I think it is going to be big support. Structure and with segregation of duties information system. This is actually one of the most important part when you read your auditing. You have IFCs, which is there. IFC particularly talks about one is risk control and the authority matrix, which is there. So this is something which is again relating to your auditing requirement as well. So please ensure that these are all being considered. The fourth chapter is of e-commerce, m-commerce, and emerging technologies. E-commerce is very close to your heart. You might be ordering so many things from Swiggy, you might be Jabong, this, that, and all other. What it means. M-commerce is again on the advanced level, and emerging technologies are nothing but ABCD of technology, which is artificial intelligence. Then B is blockchain, C is cloud computing, cyber security, and D is data analytics. So these are certain things which are going to be there, and emerging technologies with related risk and control. The more business is going to move towards technology, you will be more prone to cyber attacks. And the volume of transactions which are going to get recorded going forward. Just take an example of Ola. How Ola is actually doing. Just imagine, can you go and do audit of Ola? It is not possible humanly to go and sit and do the transaction verification of Ola. So what requires is basically you require separate tools for doing it. From a sampling mode, we will be moving in future towards 100% verification mode. From true and fair, we will be moving towards true and correct. So these all emerging technologies are going to give you that support in the entire process, where the risk, one side will be looking controlled, but it is exposed to higher cyber attacks and all. Now the core banking system, I think when you also visit to your banks, you also visit ATMs, you also look into, and these are all real-time transactions which are impacting. And today the entire banking system is dependent on core banking system. And we are happy that, ours is one of the toughest IRAC norms in the world. And today, the kind of situation where we are in the COVID circumstances, all the banks are able to come forward and give the entire information wherever. If your bank is on X zone, which is a red zone, the person can visit in Y area, which is a green zone, and operate the entire banking system of that particular branch. Just imagine, only the documentation, which is a physical form of documentation, will be lying at the branch, but all other verification I can do it through one particular other location. So the CBS environment has multiple things which you need to understand. Again, there are multiple type of reports which are coming up. In total, which I would like to tell you is, technology is actually now like a water. When you have your food, it's like water. Without water, you cannot complete your meal. And the entire system which goes through, actually with only a glass of water can set right things. So it is similarly that, information technology is going to play a very critical role in every person's life. Don't read this examination for the purpose of reading and writing for 50 marks. Just imagine if you are thorough in this particular process. Yes, there are certain questions which are coming up, which are sometimes looks very difficult, but equally they are very easy questions also if you read it and go. There are steps which are very clearly, what are the objectives, what are the statistics, characteristics or might be what is the advantage, disadvantage, what is the process flow. This kind of straight question comes to you. It makes life very simple. Out of 50 marks, you have 15 marks, which is on MCQ, and 35 marks are on subjective. So I think you people, if you are able to sit, read, and understand the process flow, and most important part, which I would like to say is, if you even if your father is working in any organization, he might be an engineer or a doctor. If you talk about a process flow, he can comfortably talk about it. It need not be a chartered accountant. So my point to you is, when you sit, read this. Don't read it as a burden. It is only to be understood once, and you need to remember the bullet points. When I realized to write, and I was really fortunate, a person who got zero at a later point in time, I got 67 or something like that. And today, with that basic understanding, I can only tell you one thing is that foundation, though it started with a failure, but today the kind of concentrated effort which I have done, why I am sharing you without any reservation in mind, though being a council member, is only that if I can be there, you all can be there. And it is good time for you people to read, understand, and do well. So I wish you a great learning process, and I thank the chairman and the vice chairman for organizing this fantastic webinar, because I am able to recollect my days, old days, and I'm just sharing with you what practically it is possible. And more importantly, thanks to Board of Studies, which is actually thinking and doing certain kind of things in a very calculated and very effective manner. And this is only going to increase. It is not going to come down. Chairman sir, in your leadership, I think we are going to go and reach a new destination of our teaching and learning. We have been focusing more on the members as such over a period of time, but with this initiative, I think we have reached the last person of our profession also, which is just entering an article, or might be who's getting into a CA. I wish you a great success, and I promise that any time which you require, we will be available at our own time level. Thank you very much, Chairman sir, and thank you very much, Vice Chairman sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Daya, for having shared your thoughts with us. If you have heard Daya speak at length, he was laying stress on Information Technology Act, that how important it is when he was speaking about information technology. And most important, he was talking about ABCD. Many of us, we have seen that ABC, always better control, but he was talking about ABCD of information technology. You see, artificial intelligence, blockchain, cyber security, data analytics, all those things he was talking about. And he ended by saying that information technology should be just like water, which is very important for our digestive system, very important for our being. And he said, don't take this subject as a burden. Enjoy the subject. Daya, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. We look forward to your presence in the future also. Thank you very much. So now over to the speaker, sir. Thank you. Sushil, thank you.
Morning. Okay. Can you disable? Okay, add video. Okay, now. Good morning. Good morning, students. So I thank the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the Board of Studies, for allowing me to share my thoughts on this subject. Devashish sir, Sushil sir, and Dayanivas sir, they have briefed you on the subject itself. To me personally, the subject is absolutely practical. There is nothing like theory in the subject for me. And because we want a very interactive session, so I request you that kindly share your questions, your queries in between the session. I've got a system that sends me your queries online. So I'll try to answer this during our session itself. It's a live revisionary class, a great idea by the Institute. To me personally, this subject is 100% practical. There is not a single theory word in it. and that is how we all need to look to the subject. Just to start from where all our great council members left. See, when you today woke up in the morning, from 6 a.m. till the time you go to sleep to your bed again, just understand the way life has got into or technology has got into your life, starting with the morning alarm. By the time you go to sleep, just make a tick mark that how many times you have used some technology to do your daily jobs, your daily activities. So this is how technology is, and exactly this is what has been brought into the subject. So what we all need to understand that how we can use technology, how we need to learn about technology, so that as we all go forward, as we all go ahead in life, we can use this for our life sustenance also and for our daily activities also. So once you all become chartered accountants, whether you go in service or practice or start your own business, at every level, every single word that you are going to listen, learn today is going to be of relevance. So let us start. We'll start with the session. Every 30 minutes, I'll go to the questions that you have sent to me. And once we'll go through the questions and then we'll go back to the session. So let me start with the presentation. Okay, so that is where we want to start. These are standard disclaimers. And see, this is what one thing that I emphasize. Okay, so I'll just start. Just a moment. Okay. So, first, automated business processes, first chapter. Now, see what this chapter is all about. So, let us learn what exactly is meant in the chapter. I'll run through it fast because time is a limitation for us. Keep your questions. Please repeat. Okay. Yeah. So I think PPT is there now. Okay. Thank you. So the first chapter is about automated business processes. How you automate your business, how you ensure that all things you do is through use of technology. And as our members from council rightly updated that in this lockdown session, the lockdown that we are all having, we all understand the relevance of technology. This whole initiative of the institute is an example of how you can automate business processes, how we can ensure that we are more technology oriented, how we can ensure that our businesses are run through technology. In fact, lot of chartered accountants across India, Danivas sir shared this example of doing an online bank audit. So you need not go to bank physically, you can do the audit from your own home office. That saves you from the risk of the disease that we are all facing. And this is exactly how we all need to go ahead. So this just example at the start that see today when you drive a vehicle, your vehicle gives a warning that the fuel is say in a reserve state. You need to get it refueled. Just look to the second example. A purchase manager gets an email SMS from system informing that important raw material item inventory level has reached reorder level. So this is what technology is doing. This is how technology is working. It gives you information, intimation that this is the next action you need to take. In case of vehicle, the dashboard gives you a warning. Here you get an email, SMS. The process has been automated. The same process that was had to be physically done, now it is being informed to you by technology. This whole idea about using technology in your day-to-day activities is what about how you automate your business processes. So this whole session is we have 10 hours, 3 in the morning today, 2 in the evening, 3 again tomorrow morning, and 2 again tomorrow evening. So we'll ensure that we cover as much as possible. I'll run through the chapter, take your questions, and then we'll have a fast recap. This is whole chapter, how it is arranged. So the nature of business, the automation, the implementation of it, the risk management controls when you automate your business. So you have this procure to pay cycle, order to cash, inventory cycle, about specific business processes, what risk these processes have, and then flowcharts. We'll be talking about flowcharts. We'll try to do as practical as possible. Learning how to draw flowcharts. I'll be sharing some basics because the time will be reasonably limited. So flowchart I consider one of the most important aspects in the subject itself and in your real life also. See, when you go for audit, suppose I understand all of you are under articleship. So whenever you go for an audit, the first day, kindly do not start the audit. Try to understand the business process. Our standard on auditing talks about gain knowledge about client's business. So what we all need to do, what we all need to understand is gain knowledge about client's business, and the best way to understand client's business is draw flowcharts, create flowcharts, see how the transaction is flowing. In fact, at the start of this only, let me share an example. If I say SOX, you all understand it's a law applicable in US, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, that is applicable to all listed companies in US. The law was brought in 2002 after 2 pure accounting frauds occurred in US. Now, when a company goes for implementing SOX, when they go for implementing the SOX law, they have to create a process documentation. Process means how the transaction is flowing from one end to another end. So that they do through flowchart. Take my word, whatever audits you are doing today, if you start creating flowcharts, the process flow, the level of understanding, the level of queries you are going to create will be phenomenally different. That is the relevance of flowchart. So to me, flowchart is not has to be part of your syllabus. Flowchart has to be part of your life learning that you are always going to use whenever you are, once you become chartered accountant, be in practice or in service or start your own business. That is the relevance of it. Then today in the environment we are, the applicable laws, the relevance has increased multifolds. We all have been receiving this message on WhatsApp that you don't share anything that is untrue. You don't share anything that is fake on WhatsApp. It is subject to law. The Information Technology Act 2000 as amended in 2008 has provisions keeping hold of people who are transmitting unauthorized messages, fake messages, obscene messages. So that is the importance of law that we are talking about. So that is the first, the chapter 1, business process automation, automated business processes. Okay. What we need to understand, the understanding of the concept on business, understanding flow, relationship of internal and automated controls, the risk to the business, understanding of the structure and flow of business, the applicable regulations and law. Today, the way we are working, today the way world is connected, it's impossible for us to imagine our world without technology. The subject itself, enterprise information system, is about technology, how you are going to use technology in your practice, in your life. That is the whole subject about. This is very important. Enterprise business processes. So what exactly is a business process? Business process is the way you do any activity, the way you perform any job. That is a business process. Once that activity has been streamlined, has been created, you need to properly manage those activities to achieve what I call as 3 E's: effectiveness, efficiency, and economy of the business. To have processes which are effective, processes which are efficient, processes which are economic, that is business process management. So whatever processes you create, whatever processes you document, define, they are part of business process management. This is how a business process model in an enterprise may look like. The flow chart is from the module itself. So you need to have vision. See, I'll take example. So I'll look to your questions. I'll just take a minute to review. Okay. So thanks. Thank you, students. Your questions are like, now you are we almost be viewing Mahabharata. So in Mahabharata there is a instance where Dronacharya asked all his students to hit eye of the bird, chidiya ki aankh. He asked all the participants, his students in Mahabharata, to hit on the eye of the bird. He asked everyone what you are seeing. So someone says, I am seeing tree. Someone says, I see the branch. Someone says, I see the bird sitting on the branch. When Arjun's term comes, he says, I see eye of the bird. मुझे आंख दिख रही है उस चिड़िया की. Exactly, that is what your questions are. All of you are interested in knowing, sir, how to clear exam. Great. How to go about MCQs. Perfect. So you're all like Arjuns and you will surely succeed in exam. What exams are, how they are going to be conducted, how we need to prepare is part of my discussion during the session. So kindly don't worry about it. I'll be coming up with the relevant ideas, relevant concept during the part of discussion. There are few different questions I take when we have a break after say 30 minutes to this session. Now, so enterprise business process model. Now see, let me give an example. So what I will be expecting, I'll put a question to you. I am taking the screen, the other screen with me. How? So let me give question. What I expect is from this flow chart, you take a word and you tell me that whatever question I am giving to you, that question is which in this word. Okay. So first, say if I ask you, anyone who has a wild guess of what is the turnover of Amul, the dairy product company, what is Amul's turnover? Anyone of you can guess. I am looking to the screen. I am looking to the answers you are going to give. I have brought the other screen nearer to me to check the answers. Okay, so I'm waiting for your answers. Answer my question. Anyone who has a wild guess of Amul's turnover, I'll always give 10 seconds for you to answer. Okay, so let me tell you. It is more than 35,000 crores. Amul's turnover today is 35,000 crores. Now, 10 years back, when probably Amul's turnover was, say, 5,000 crores, Amul decided to increase their turnover in next 10 years to 50,000 crores. So 10 years back, when Amul was selling say 5,000 crores, they made a decision that they are going to increase their turnover to 50,000 crores. 10 times in 10 years. Yes, this is what. The example I put, this is what in the flow chart you are looking. What from 5,000 crores to 50,000 crores. This is what from this flow chart. Great. So you have searched on Google and given me the right answer. Now the question. The question is that 10 years before in 2010, when Amul's turnover was 5,000 crores, the board of the Amul decided to increase it to 50,000 crores. From 5,000 to 50,000, 10 times. This decision of the board is what in the flow chart? Fantastic. So I have one answer. Vision. Got the point? Okay. We'll build on this. So this whole description will be clear to you. From 5,000 crores to 50,000 crores. Now the point is how to achieve it. So the Amul board decided we will launch new products. We will launch new products. This is what? Launching of new product is what in this flow chart? Launching of new product is what within this flow chart? Management process. Great. A better answer. Management process is not perfect. From this flow chart, you can take each cell. Financial management. A better answer. Business planning. So the best answer is below vision strategy, you see business planning. Now, so what Amul decided that we will launch new products, but that was only one. They had another strategy. The other strategy was they are going to acquire dairies across India. Dairies across India. That is what? Mergers and acquisition. So whatever the board decides is part of vision strategy. Like just taking the example from what Institute is doing. Today Institute has started so many live classes. So this only comes from vision, and vision will be for the members who take the decision, the council members. So that is what you call as, and people who take the right vision, you call them as visionaries. So this is the vision strategy part, and then once you do, you start developing. So you create the manufacturing processes, you create the operational processes, and then you continue doing it. Okay. So that is vision, strategy, planning, merger, and acquisitions, how Amul has decided to go about it. Good. Vision and strategy. Vision is what I want to do. Strategy is how I want to do it. What and how. What I want to do is vision. How I want to do is strategies. So that is vision and strategy. Great. Then each of the business can have processes which can be defined as offices, supporting processes and management process. Let us take one by one. Operational or primary processes. Like you as CA student paying the fees for examination, that will be classified as a operational process. So for a manufacturing concern, O2C, order to cash. Order to cash is the revenue side. So customer gives you an order, you supply the order, the customer gets delivery of the product, you make payment of the product. That is order to cash. The other is procurement to pay. That is you are buying your own raw material. Now a question I want to learn from you. On all these online platforms, say Amazon, Flipkart, Jobang, Zomato, Swiggy, whenever you are buying a product, so most of the time you have to make a payment while you are buying the product. So you first prepay and then you get a delivery. There is an option when you buy online, there is something called as COD, cash on delivery. So see, the cycle is so different. In one case, you first pay the cash and then get a delivery. In the second case, you get a delivery and then pay the cash. So that is order to cash cycle in a operational process, supporting process. So let us take example from Amul itself. So once Amul decided to acquire dairies, Amul decided to launch new products. That means Amul will have to build manufacturing locations. So Amul created manufacturing locations where wherever they are going to manufacture the goods, the products, they will have to procure raw material, maintain inventory of raw material. That will be part of primary process. Then there will be concept of supporting process. Supporting process means the people who are going to work there, the workers who are going to work there. So that is basically a supporting process. So operational process, supporting process. So people working in Amul's factory will be part of supporting process. Then management process. Management is the top process. The decision from 5,000 crores to 50,000 crores is part of management process. Management process has multiple definitions, concepts, connotations, things to be done. Example includes internal communication, governance, strategic planning, budgeting, infrastructure, capacity management. I enjoy this capacity management. We have got a small discussion in later half of the chapter. So management process means the key decision making process, the key processes which are there to take your business forward. This includes the vision, the strategies, the business goals, the revenue projections, the cost projections, the profit projections, board approvals, review. So your budget processes, it starts from the vision and ends to the review. That is how management is going to process itself. So that completes the topic. I'll just run through the questions. Great. So this is a good question by us. I like this intelligent question. So our student, she has said that enterprise goal determine long-term future of the entity. Our online courses are short-term. No, they are already long-term. I think we need to understand that COVID, Corona, the risk it has posed to all of us, the way world is trying to fight an invisible threat has ensured that we all learn the relevance of online work from home. That is how things are going to be. And this is not an immediate solution. It's a long-term solution. In fact, this long-term, online classes itself, you all know that even private physical classes are converting themselves to online. Institute has already brought this whole online affair for all of the students at virtually no cost. So this is how business is going to go in the future. So it's always a long-term issue. So vision again, vision is what I want to do. Strategy is how I want to do. Okay. Great, thank you. So let us go to the next part, automated business processes. So what is automation? See, automation is basically doing your whatever you're doing physically, that you convert into online. So I'm taking some examples from our practical experiences that will help you learn. So you all go for bank audit, all you go for internal audit, revenue audit, general statutory audit, tax audit. What we have been able to achieve, we have been able to create something called as a real-time internal audit, where our members, team members, our article assistants, they don't go to a place doing physical vouching, they go to a place doing an online vouching. So whatever audit is done, it is not done physically. We have stopped using green ticks. It's done online. So whatever queries are there, my team member, they submit those queries to me online. As they submit the queries, my database is updated. That is doing it real time. That is what we have been able to do. Automate a business process. This whole classes is automating a business process. Your exams, yes, probably someday your exams will be like this only, subject to the security aspect. That will be done in an automated environment. The issue is that whatever I'm doing physically today, I do it through system. That is called as automation. When I go for business process automation, I need to be sure about few things, and this is very, very, very important. They like this, taking this online classes, so we need to have multiple things available with us. The electricity has to be there, the internet connection has to be there, the security has to be there. So whenever you automate business, like you share so much online data on these online websites, you give your mobile numbers, you give your location. So the risk is huge. So whenever you talk of business process automation, one of the things that we must be very sure about is that we need to ensure success to the process. How you are going to ensure such success is this through ensuring that the business process is confidential, integral, it's available, and it is available in a timely manner. Very good. So automation reduces the time and effort. It increases the efficiency of the user. Perfect. So confidentiality means, okay, because see, it's a revisionary class. So revisionary class means you've already read it. Now you know what is being taught. So let me ask you this. What is the difference between confidentiality and integrity? Confidentiality and integrity. What is the difference? I'm waiting for answer. Confidentiality and integrity. The definitions are there. The key difference. Okay. So the key difference is confidentiality means you allow access to authorized person, and integrity means to ensure that there are no unauthorized amendments. So whatever data is being automated, you need to ensure it is confidential as well as integral. Availability is, it must be available when you ask for, and it must be available in a timely manner. That is confidential, integrity, availability, and timeliness. Okay. Then whenever you automate business process, you need to ensure quality, consistency. Yes. The benefits that you get is great. Confidentiality means privacy. Integrity, sender cannot deny the order. Okay, sender cannot, no one can modify. Integrity is basically tamper proof, not allowing people to change it. Integrity is a behavior also, but in technology terms we want integrity of data, integrity of information. No one has done any tampering, unauthorized modifications. Great. Whenever you automate any business process, the benefits are quality and consistency. Like the internal audit process, I'm taking as an example, the real-time environment. So what happens is generally each article clerk has his or her way of writing queries, so that now they need not write the queries. Say, for example, you are vouching a cash payment voucher, and the cash payment voucher is for an expenditure that is 25,000. You are vouching cash vouchers and the expenditure is 25,000. So you cannot do a cash expense in more than 10,000. You cannot do an expenditure in cash if it is more than 10,000 rupees. So I put a query to you. The cash payment voucher is for 25,000. I want you to give me a response. How you will write it? I want the query only. The query. The cash payment voucher is 25,000. I want you to write the query. How you will write in your query sheet, audit notebook. The query is cash payment is 25,000. I want you to give me example of how you are going to write it. Then with your example, I'll come to the points that we are talking. Cash payment in excess of 10,000. The voucher is 25,000. I want you to give me how you write query in your audit notebook, query sheet. Oh, okay. Okay. I never knew it. So thanks, book. Thanks, one of the students. He has informed me that you have to fill some information before you answer. So I'll give you more time because see more interaction we have, it will be better learning. So I'll increase my waiting time to 20 seconds, not 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Okay. Disallowance, great. So there has to be a better way of doing it, so you can do it fast. Cash payment is exceeding rupees 25,000. Great. Which shall not be allowed. Perfect. One student said it is 25,000. Other said it is a disallowed expenditure. Must not be allowed. Now, so more of you are responding. I'll just wait for one more second. Okay. Now see, 10 responses, 10 type of response. What happened? Same query to an article, he or she is going to write in 10 different ways. When we have been able to automate the internal audit process, what has happened? The same query is now consistent. The article he or she is not supposed to write the query, it comes from drop down. So he or she selects and submits. That brings consistency. So when you use technology, great. So to make, oh great. Someone has said cash payment in excess of 10,000 disallowed. Someone says cash payment in excess of 10,000 is disallowed as per Income Tax Act 1961. See, we are all talking of the same query. So everyone has a different way of looking at things, how he or she perceives. But when we have automated the process, it has brought consistency. The article assistants, the team members, they need not write the query. They select and do it. Perfect. Second, it saves time. So it is saving time. Third is bad, but it is there. Visibility. Visibility means you can see it happening. So, I presume my articles are not viewing this lecture, but then I am always able to see who is working. And I am also able to see where he is working. Visibility. Because it's online process. Improved operational efficiency. Yes, I am able to check in a day, that is 11 to 5. Your articleship is 11 to 5. Our was 10:30 to, there was no ending time because we never had classes then. But today you have so many classes, so you have to complete your classes also. Improved operational efficiency means my article from 11 to 5, how much work he or she has done. I can always check the volume of transaction. I can also sometimes see the lunch break, what was the length of the lunch break. So see what is happening. Once I have automated the business process, I can visualize everything. Governance and reliability. Yes, governance is basically controlling, monitoring, ensuring that the work is done as per defined procedures. Reliability, who is doing, how he or she is doing. Reduce turnaround time. Turnaround time means the response mechanism is very fast. In fact, because it's a good example, I am continuing with the example. You see what happens. See, why this internal audit or management audits are done? Because the top management, wants to know how the business is being run. So because there is an automation of the process, my data is always ready with me. We are actually able to give a report of today's audit in summary at the end of the day. So we have this concept of surprise check, surprise physical verification. So at the end of the day, we generate the report and submit. Reduce turnaround time. Turnaround time is the more you automate, the more you can do the business again, more you can respond to the business and reduce cost, because technology allows us to do multiple jobs at a time. That is how business process automation works. So see, my basic idea is to understand how it is practically being done. So one of you asked a question, what is practical? It is absolutely practical. Not a single word in your module is theory. You visualize it. You see how it is actually working. That is. Okay, so you are not article students. One day you will be article. Don't worry. That means you are not okay, because you will be appearing in exam and then starting articleship. So many of you are going to experience articleship after you clear exams. Great. Thank you. Then these are the steps of implementing business process automation. Define why we want to implement the BPA. Understand the rules, regulations. This is very important. In fact, see, the success of business process, or okay, what I'll do, I'll run through these steps and then ask you a question. I'll not define the steps. Let us ask a question and then I'll redefine for you. This is this probably 8 steps. Yeah. These 8 steps will be success to anything that you will do in your life in technology. With permission, आप अपने जीवन में कुछ भी करेंगे, ये 8 स्टेप उस सफलता की कुंजी है. This is success in your life. So we'll do very thoroughly. See, I don't want you to remember. I want you to conceptualize. I want you to understand. So first, define why we want to implement a BPA, business process. Why you want to do it. Okay. First. Second, understand the rules and regulations which enterprise needs to comply while implementing. So suppose I am a company and I am implementing a business process automation. I need to understand the rules which govern my processes. Third, document the process you wish to automate. So whatever you want to automate, you need to write. This is how I want to do. Define the goals and objective to achieve. It's from the module. The smart way of doing it. The goals have to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So define the goals. Okay. Engage a business process consultant. This is what I want you to be. All of you need to understand that we can all be business process consultant. This business process consultant is basically you once you become chartered accountants. Calculate the return on investment for the project, develop the business process automation, and test it. Now, going back. So 8 steps. Step 1, 2, step 1 is defining why. Step 2 is understanding rules. Step 3 is documentation of the process. Step 4 is defining the objectives. Step 5 is engaging a consultant. Step 6 is ROI calculation. Step 7 is developing a BPA. Step 8 is testing. Of these 8 steps, you only write the number. Okay, I want only number, which is the most important. I'll repeat again. Of these 8 steps, which is the most important? Why? Rules, documentation, objective definition, consultant hiring, ROI defining, developing BPA, testing BPA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to give me the number of the 8 steps which you consider most important. Step 6, someone says, great. Second, someone says step 2. You can only write the number. Yeah. Yeah. Someone has said 1. Great. This one is the most important. It is asking you the question, why you are doing CA. How you do is your problem. Why you do is an important question. Why? So whenever I talk of business process automation, I need to define why. Why I want to do it. When I start defining why, the next questions comes automatically. So why is the most important? You do it for business purpose. You do it for achieving efficiencies, economies, better business, better customer service. So top objective has to be clear. That is okay. So defining the why, understanding the rules, regulations, documenting the processes you wish to automate, defining the objectives, the goals, implementing the business process automation, the smart way. The objectives have to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely, engaging a business process consultant, calculating the ROI, developing BPA and testing BPA. Now, someone asked, who can be a business process consultant? I have answered that you and me, chartered accountants, are business process consultants. What is the key to be a business process consultant? I need to understand the business process. So if I understand the business process, I can be a business process consultant. This is how I do it. Okay. Then there are 2 cases in the module: automation of purchase order process in a manufacturing entity, employee attendance automation, and case 3 I have shared, automation of internal audit process. So purchase order process automation is that, say, let me ask you, maximum level of inventory, minimum level of inventory, reorder level of inventory, maximum inventory level, minimum inventory level, reorder inventory level, at which level I will issue my purchase order. Maximum inventory level, minimum inventory level, reorder level, at which level I will issue my purchase order. I want answer. Maximum, minimum or reorder. So I want this answer from you. Which inventory level you are going to give a purchase order? Maximum, minimum or a reorder level? Great. So reorder level. Okay, perfect. Like when we started this session, there was a question about my cars, my vehicle's petrol has gone to reserve. So what is happening? The dashboard of the vehicle gives an indication that the petrol or the diesel is in reserve. I need to go to the pump and get it refilled. Petrol station, diesel station, get it refilled. Now, the second example we had was that I am a manufacturing concern. I have automated my process. I have defined the reorder levels in the inventory system. As soon as an item's reorder level is hit, I need to release a purchase order. Now, we are doing it practically only. So if I have to release a purchase order, who will be I? Which person in the entity is going to release the purchase order? Asking you, who is going to release the purchase order in the entity? So we complete the process here itself. Who is going to release the purchase order in the entity? I am an entity. I have defined reorder levels, and inventory's level has hit reorder level. So someone has to release the purchase order. Who will release the purchase order? will release the purchase order? I'm waiting for the answers. Great. So we have the first answer, purchase department. Perfect. So purchase store manager. Great. Accepted. Now the next important part. How purchase department or purchase manager or store manager will come to know that an item's inventory has hit reorder level. How he or she is going to come to know, or how the department will come to know. What will happen in system? Now this is what is the key question. What will happen in the system that they will release a purchase order? Something has to happen. What will be that? What will happen in the system that will tell the purchase department or the store department or procurement department head to release the purchase order? What it will be? So let me do it. An information, an intimation. This intimation, the way of generating the intimation is automation. The way you generate an intimation is informing the concerned person that the inventory level has reached reorder level. This way of doing is automation. How it can be done? It can be done through an email. It can be done through an SMS. It can be done through a WhatsApp message. Now, look at what level entities are working. You know what entities have done? Suppose I am Amul. Okay. I am manufacturing milk and milk products. My milk has to be supplied in sachets. I have got an inventory level of sachets or the packets. The reorder level has been hit and there is a purchase manager. The purchase manager will give an intimation that this packets or boxes or sachets inventory level is hit. So purchase manager is going to release a purchase order. It will be supplied. This process has also been automated. The information that an item's level has reached per reorder level is informed to the purchase manager, but a purchase order is automatically generated and emailed to the vendor. Imagine the next of automation. The vendor, because he or she or it is an authorized vendor, it automatically gets an information from Amul system that they have to supply the sachets. That is automation. What quantities to be supplied? A reorder level or reorder quantity. That level of automation is being done. That is business process automation. I am taking the questions because this topic is important. So it's a very important topic. You can keep the questions on. Great. Very good response. System will alert. So this creating alert is automation. You got the point? Creating this alert is success of automation. And now this alert business is done. People have started automating from their system to their vendor system. And reverse also from customer system to their system. Great. That is business process automation. We have a feedback about audio. So if my coordinator, there is something I have to do, please tell me. Okay. Okay. So business process automation. Now, I've already talked about internal audit process automation. That is what we have actually delivered. So my team, there is a topic. See what you need to read 5 chapters together. Don't consider chapter 1, chapter 2. No, never do it. Consider 5 chapters together. You'll love it. See how things are so related. When I said automation of internal audit process, how our team works. They do not carry paper, they do not carry pen, they carry this device. What is this device? Which chapter I am talking about? What is this device? Mobile. Your chapter 4 is e-commerce and commerce. Understand? That is what our respected members said in the morning start of the session. That technology is all encompassing. You don't leave anything to any person. So if I say automation of business, it has direct relevance to all chapters. It is all interlinked process. So that is how automation has to be created. Okay. So we are just having a 30 seconds break to recap. You review in your mind, and after 30 seconds, I start the next topic. Yes, my God. So someone is saying all subjects to be considered together. Yes, they must be. In fact, in my mind, I sometimes feel that in final, there must be a paper that is all subjects together. Means all 8 subjects of final asked in one paper. It will be fun. Because it's like this only. Mobile computing. Okay. So see, you have learned it that business process automation is linked to other chapters. So we'll carry this example and appropriate level will interlink it into the different chapters. So we have 2 basic examples to talk about during whole discussion. First is about this automation of the purchase order. Second is about the automation of internal audit. The third example in the module is employee attendance automation. Multiple ways of doing it. You all know it much better. Companies have provided their employees with RFID, radio frequency identification device tags. RFID is infrared readable card. The employee keeps the card in his or her pocket, goes through the gate which has a scanner, the attendance is marked. Then there are locations where there is biometric attendance system where employees put their thumb impression and their attendance is marked. So all these processes have been automated. Based on this attendance, their payment, salary, wages are calculated and paid. So employee attendance automation is also there. Okay, well, let us start. Okay, so there is a question which I missed earlier. So let me answer. A student has put business process management and business process automation are same. It's a good question. See, our paper is 50 marks. We want to link it to the other 50. Strategic management. Now you answer this. Business process management and business process automation. Which is going to have a higher management decision value? Business process management or business process automation, which is going to have a higher management decision making value? BPM or BPA in a management hierarchy, which will be considered a higher level of management. BPM or BPA, which will be considered by higher level of management. Okay, so it is basically business process management. So BPM by name, intent and content has a higher hierarchical decision level than business process automation. So this whole decision making is part of BPM. We'll go to the next part. Very important, risk and its management. So because we are all students like you, the risk of not passing the exam is great, because in our CA results, less pass, more don't. So we want to hedge the risk. We want to reduce the risk. So if you want to pass the CA exam, there are 3 keywords to passing any CA exam. The 3 keywords are Practice, practice, and practice. So you practice a lot, you will pass exam. So that is risk, and then you are managing the risk. The risk and its management. So what is risk? Fire is a risk. Okay, so let us start from here. Fire is a risk? Yes. I want to hedge. Hedge means reduce my risk, prevent my risk. How do I prevent my risk? Fire is a risk. How do I manage it? So now you tell me, if fire is a risk, how you can manage it? If fire is a risk, how you can manage it? And give you the minute to answer. Fire is a risk? Yes. It's part of the within your chapter itself. So if fire is a risk, how you will manage it? I want you to give me answers how fire risk will be managed by you. Okay, so you are answering fire is a risk. How you will manage it? Fire extinguisher, we have one answer. Great. More answers. At least one more answer, then I'll tell you why we are discussing. Fire, yeah, good. Oh, I got it. Now see, it's fantastic. See how we learn. So fire extinguisher is an answer. Insurance is an answer. Fireproof material is an answer. Adequate extinguisher is an answer. Proper escape route is an answer. Now, so I'm reading 3. You tell me what is the difference. You have answered fireproof material. You have answered fire alarm. You have answered fire extinguisher. So, fireproof material, fire alarm, fire extinguisher. What are these 3? Suppose I want to define these 3 in terms of fire. So, these are what for my fire? So, keeping it short, these are controls. Look to the next heading, controls. So, if I have risk, I need to have controls. And if I have risk and I have controls, there is category of controls. Now the question, what is the difference between fireproof as a control, fire alarm as a control, and fire extinguisher as a control? Are these 3 controls same or are they different? Are these 3 controls same or different? Fire is a risk, you said. You know everything. The point that I am trying to come to you is that you know things, but you need to only structure them. So there's nothing that you are learning new. You always knew it. Fire is a risk? Yes. Do we have controls for management? Yes. So controls are used for managing it, reducing it. You share 3 controls. Fireproof material, fire alarm, fire extinguisher. These 3 are controls. What is the difference between these 3 controls? Are they same or are they different? If different, what is the difference? So 3 controls, fireproof material, fire alarms, fire extinguisher. These are control. Yes. What is the difference? I want you to learn on your own. They are different. What is that? So someone said same. No, they are not same. They are different. Someone says different. What is the difference? Great. So if I could grant marks, I'll grant for this answer. Yes. They are preventive, detective, and corrective. Fireproof material is preventive control. Fire alarm is detective control. And fire extinguisher is corrective control. So you have risk, you have management, and then you have controls for risk management. So let us go ahead. Introduction. So risk you have defined any event, you correctly defined some students here, any event that may result in significant deviation from planned objective, resulting in unwanted negative consequences. Now see, one of you have asked me, sir, do we need to write the exact language from the module? No, you need not write the exact language, but whatever you write must be logically read like this one. The conclusion has to be correct. Am I sure? Am I clear? Exact language is not desired, not asked for. What you need to ensure, whatever line you write, it must be logically correctly readable. It must pass the intent as defined in the module. So risk is a deviation that may create negative consequences. Sources of risk. Okay. So it can be huge. I'll read. Common sources of risk could be commercial. Yes. So commercial means the way you are doing today, this COVID and okay. You are all pursuing chartered accountancy. Your accounting is your subject. Or accounting standards you have read, standard on auditing you have read, law you have read. Tell me. I'll read the risk and then ask you a question regarding COVID and Corona. What are the source of risk? Commercial, legal, economic circumstances, human behavior, natural events, political situation, technology, technical issue, management action, controls, and individual activity. These are sources of risk. This lockdown that we are looking at, how many of the risks are being triggered? Lockdown is giving birth to how many of these listed risks? So I want you need to write whether it is giving rise to commercial risk or legal risk or economic risk, human risk, natural event, political. So lockdown, okay, let us do it. Lockdown is due to which? First question is lockdown is due to which? तो आपको इसमें से you have to select from the list. Lockdown is out of which event? Commercial, legal, economic, human, natural, political, technology, technical. Lockdown is outcome of which? First. Second, the result of lockdown is a risk. Due to lockdown, due to corona, there is a risk. So the risk due to corona is what? So second question is whether the risk is commercial, legal, economic, human, natural, political, technology, technical. So first is source of risk. Second is impact of risk. What is the source of risk? Lockdown. What is the source? Lockdown. What is the impact? You have to select from this. Great. Economic risk. Agreed. Human risk. Agreed. Natural risk. Yes. No one knows where it comes from. Natural risk. Fantastic. It probably came from some animals. Natural risk. Good. Got it. So these are the source of sorrows. Every risk is going to have some few characters. What are those? Loss, uncertainty, probability of. Last line I'll brief. So suppose my system is not secured. So a hacker can enter my system. That hacker is a threat agent. Threat agent means who tries to enter my system, exploit a weakness in my system. Okay. Yes, someone says all are risk. Great. Then risk type. So it's time 8:30. We are taking a 10 minutes break. We'll rejoin at 8:40 and then I'll take the questions there. You can post your questions. Everything is on. I am on my system. You post your questions and we'll discuss at 8:30. So my coordinator, I request we are closing for 10 minutes. So, back from tea break, uh, I read someone is from Assam. So, just like that, I had a pleasure of being in Dibrugarh once, one of the most beautiful cities, cool, calm, tea gardens. I loved it. Okay. Now, so let us go to the questions that you have asked. We'll just run through the questions. Good. So, if there is very good question on this app that is basically to be used. Now, see, in present situation, things are very critical. See, what you need to understand, wherever you are giving any data, any information, if that data information is given to unsecured locations, which are not secured. So unsecured basically is the controls are not good. That is one source of insecurity. Other could be misuse. So take both as together. So where there are chances of misuse or where there is the basic security parameter is not good, the chance of data being stolen away are always great. So to that extent, wherever the data is given, that risk is like omnipresent. The only point is that the location where you are giving data, what security it has. So the secured locations will have better confidentiality, better integrity. So the risk will be reduced. So the point is that you will never be able to reduce risk to zero. You can only manage it. Okay. So we'll take the types of risk. So business, technology, and data related risk, three types. So I'm not doing this. This you can take directly: strategic risk, reputation, leadership, brand, changing customer need. Yes, this is the example most quoted in management sessions. Nokia few years back was the largest selling mobile brand across the world, but now Nokia is nowhere. So that difference is sharp. That is a changing customer needs. Financial risk that includes currency risk, interest rate risk, commodity risk, credit, liquidity, then compliance risk, operational hazard risk, and residual. Residual risk means you have implemented controls still it remains. Then next is technology risk. Next is technology risk. The future changes in technology, the obsolescence of technology that is being used, multiplicity and complexity of system, different types of controls for different type of technologies, that is again a risk. Business not being properly aligned to the technical requirements of law, that is again risk to technology. Dependence, yes, this is very, very, very important. First, dependence on vendors due to outsourcing. In fact, see, today as professionals, as chartered accountants, in this lockdown environment, outsourcing, remote working is the key. So when a client is going to work remotely, the risk comes from technology, network. Hacker can enter system. That is a technology risk. Second is, like for example, whatever systems you are using, there is single vendor. The single vendor can blackmail you. Single vendor can force you to take for price increase. That is vendor related consultation risk. Then SODs, segregation of duties. So if they are not properly segregated, it creates a different risk. External threats, crimes, intentional acts, social engineering. Sometimes it is called as emotional blackmails. Trying to get a secret information to a person by emotionally blackmailing him or her. Like sometimes we are with friends and we ask something from the friend and we ask something from the friend and request him or her to share some critical information. If the individual is reluctant, so we say, तो क्या हमको नहीं बताएगा? That is social engineering or emotional blackmail. Okay. Then governance, yes, governance need to be properly built. Business process continuity. In fact, COVID, Corona, lockdown has created this risk to every business, including our profession, about business continuity. That is critical. Data loss, much detailed discussion in module chapter 3, so we'll take it there. Data can be lost, modified, deleted, converted into benefit for other persons, stolen. So those risks will take in chapter 3. And risk management and related terms for risk. So risk management is basically reducing it, reducing the risk. Okay. Then asset is a valued resource. So anything that has value to business. Value to business means how you consider it, that if this is not present, this will be lost. That is asset. Then next I'll define vulnerability, threat. I want you to write 2 more words, risk and impact. Vulnerability, threat, risk that we are talking about, and impact. So I'm defining, and then I will ask question. Vulnerability is weakness. Vulnerability is weakness. Say for example, the room that I'm taking this session, the room does not have a lock on the door. And during break, I went out. So vulnerability is a weakness. The door of my room is not locked is a vulnerability. What is threat? Threat is an agent exploiting weakness. So someone can enter from open door is threat. Now, I want you to tell what is risk. I have defined vulnerability. I have defined threat. Vulnerability is weakness. Weakness of controls. The door to the room in which my session's laptop is kept doesn't have a lock. That is vulnerability. What is threat? Someone can enter the room. That is threat. Now you have to tell me what is risk. I want you to write in single line what is risk in terms of the laptop. What is risk in terms of a laptop? I want the right line absolutely correct. Vulnerability is weakness. Threat is exploitation of weakness. I want you to tell me what is risk. Okay. What is risk? I'm waiting for your answer. I want to give you time to. Data theft. Great. Data breach. Okay. Attack. Threat. Asset. Okay. Someone says risk is that someone steals laptop. Okay, good. Unauthorized access of laptop. Great. Now, let me define. The risk is someone who is entering the room, he or she may steal the laptop. He or she may access the data. So, what is risk? Risk is probability of loss. What is impact? Impact is value of loss. So vulnerability threat, that is exposure. Exposure is value of loss. Likelihood is what is the probability of the risk crystallizing. Attack is the way asset has been attacked. So what is my asset? My asset can be my data. My asset can be my information. My asset is anything that has value to me in my business. What is vulnerability? A weakness. What is threat? Someone can exploit weakness. What is exposure? The value of loss. What is likelihood? The probability of loss. What is attack? My asset is hit on confidentiality, integrity and availability. If I lose my laptop, availability. If someone sees secure data, confidentiality. If someone modifies data, integrity. So CIA, what is countermeasure is controls. How do I secure my vulnerability? Through controls. Okay. Now, a very important question to help us understand the concept. The four words are vulnerability, threat, risk and attack. Vulnerability, threat, risk and attack. This is your MCQ. Okay, so MCQ has four words: vulnerability, threat, risk and attack. Now, question is, which of the following four, if not assessed properly, will lead to maximum loss? The question is, which of the following four, if not assessed properly, will lead to maximum loss? Option is option A, vulnerability, option B, threat, option C, risk, and option D, attack. Question is, which of the following four, if not assessed properly, will lead to maximum loss? Vulnerability, threat, risk, and attack. Give the answer. Okay, so we have at least one answer. 2, 3. Great. The right answer is, just a moment more. A. Perfect. Vulnerability. Because if I have not assessed vulnerability, okay, again a question I'll ask. Okay. Vulnerability is assessment of weakness. So if I don't assess my weakness, I don't implement. If I do not assess vulnerability properly, what I'll not implement from the list? Countermeasures. What I'll not have? Controls. So if I don't say this is vulnerability, what I'll not have? Control. Huge misjudgment on the part of management. So vulnerability assessment is very, very important. And risk management strategies, yes. So how you do it? So with your permission, we are practicing chartered accountants. We have to do audit. We have team members. We have very good articles. Some articles means my experience has been phenomenal. The articles, they were exceptionally well. And the energy that they bring in the office by the way they work. But then sometimes they are not up to the mark. But then because it's a relationship for 3 years, so you allow that person to continue. So when you are allowing something to happen, which risk strategy I am adopting? What is the risk management strategy I am adopting? I am allowing a thing that is not as per my standards to work with me. which risk management strategy I am adopting. I'll only do by questions. All 5 will be do by questions only. So suppose an article, very rarely it happens, but with your permission only an example. Suppose an article, he or she is not working up to the standard and I allow him or her to work for 3 years with me. Which is the strategy I am adopting here? See, to me, okay, let you answer this. So you understand, tolerate, good. Now, but then there is a decorum that has to be maintained. So one day the article, he or she, again in a very rare event, breaches the decorum. So I ask him or her to take transfer, form 109. What I am doing? So when I allow him or her to continue, accept. But then one day I have to say, no, you have to leave. What is that? When I ask the individual to leave the organization, what is that? So when I ask him or her to leave, it is eliminating. So what I have done, because it is a risky proposition, I do not do it. Then in the previous example for fire, you said fireproof material, fire alarms, fire extinguisher, and another one said fire insurance. What you have done? Transferred the risk, shared the risk. So fire insurance is sharing, transferring. And suppose I talk to my article who is not performing well. We give a training to him or her to improve his or her performance. What we are trying to do? Treating, mitigating the risk. Treating or mitigating the risk. And because now when you start articleship, you can always interview. Sometimes it happens that the article, he or she is not in the same town. Probably he or she doesn't have a proper stay location. So you don't start the articleship. That is turn back. So risk that you cannot take, you leave it back. So that is turn back. Okay. Accepting risk, eliminating, sharing, mitigating, and turn back. Okay. And we'll run through this. We have gone. Controls are policies, practices defined in an organization. Lot of examples are in the module. Controls can be 3 types. We have already talked about preventive, detective, and corrective. We'll do more questions. Okay. Audit by name, by intent and content. Audit by name, intent, and content is preventive, detective, or corrective. Audit by name, intent, and content is preventive, detective, or corrective. You have to say audit is preventive or detective or corrective. You can say P, D, or C. Audit by name, intent, and content is preventive, detective, or corrective. Okay, a very good question has come. I'll answer. Audit is detective. Perfect. Again, we'll go with the examples only. Business continuity planning, business continuity procedure, or DRP, disaster recovery planning. This topic is in your module. It will come at some location. Disaster recovery plan, business continuity plan. These are preventive, detective, or corrective. Business continuity plan means like this corona is like a disaster. So how you ensure that you keep your business live, working during disaster? That is DRP, disaster recovery plan. So disaster recovery plan is preventive, detective or corrective. DRP is P, D or C. First you answered correctly. Audit is detective. Second question. Disaster recovery plan is preventive, detective or corrective. What is DRP? The plan that you put in place to ensure your business does not stop during disaster. Corona, COVID is an economic disaster. How you ensure working in that? So that is BCP, Business Continuity Plan, or DRP, disaster recovery. It is preventive, detective or corrective. Perfect. Corrective. So correctives are when the business has been subject to loss, you try to reduce the impact of it. Good. So you know preventive control, you know detective, and you know corrective. We'll recall the example. Fire was a risk. Fireproof material was preventive. Someone did comment less wood. Using less inflammable material is also preventive. Fire alarm, detective. Fire extinguisher, corrective. Good question has been put. What is difference between tolerate and turn back? Turn back is you don't take the risk. Like now, because you're all doing CA, but then not all of you do CA. Many of you come from CPT or now foundation. So suppose you have given some student who doesn't join CA, he or she has given foundation for 2 attempts, and then after 2 attempts, he or she is clear that CA is not his or her cup of tea. Do not join the course. So turn back is not taking the risk. Tolerate is having taken the risk, allow it to happen. So turn back is you have not entered the door, but tolerate is you have entered the door and you need to manage it. That is. So DRP is C, correct. Okay. Then, okay, controls can be manual, automated, semi-automated. That is done. Importance of IT control. I'll read the keywords. They help organizations achieve objectives and mitigate risk. The control basically reduce the impact of possible losses, possible vulnerabilities. Apply. So controls are you go to an ATM. Okay, let us take ATM as an example. ATM. So number of ATMs when you need to enter the gate. There's a card, your ATM card need to swipe to open the gate. Now those gates are mandatorily opened, but ideally they need to have a card swipe before it opens. So you have opened that gate, then you insert your card slot in the ATM machine, give your PIN number. So card slot at the start of ATM is again a control. So you can have controls at every stage of the transaction. Okay, so there's a good question on DRP, I'll answer it. So IT controls, wherever technology is used, you put control, that is the PA control. There can be 2 types, general and application. General controls means the opening of the gate by the ATM card to enter the ATM kiosk is a general control. Putting the ATM card in the ATM machine, the slot, and giving a PIN number is an application control. Let us see. So general controls include policies, authentication, separation of key functions, system acquisition implementation control, change management. Yes, this is one of the most important part. Sorry. Change management. This is one of the most important parts in technology. Backups, recoveries and BCPs. Proper implementation and development of application softwares, confidentiality, incident response. Incident response means something bad happening and how you respond to it. Service level agreements. So these are the general controls, and understand this is an illustrative list. It can be huge. Each control I can talk for 8 hours. So the topic is very intensive. Okay. So policy, administration, authentication, and that I'll answer the question. How DRP is corrective? having a disaster recovery plan does not prevent a disaster from occurring. It is not going to prevent a disaster, but it will help entity reduce the losses that it is going to be incurred due to disaster. That is why it is corrected. Then application control to all applications like Tally, all use. To go to your office, you use the Tally software. You use a taxation software. There are passwords to it. Those are application controls. I read data edits, separation, balancing, transaction logging, error reporting, exception reporting are application controls. Then indicators of good controls are that organization is working properly, things are in budget, resources are predictably allocated, communication is proper. So if controls are good, this will be part of any organization. This is important. Controls as per the standard on auditing framework and other standards. So our SA 315 says that internal control is process designed, implemented, maintained by those charged with governance, management and other personnel to provide reasonable assurance about achievement of entity's objective regarding reliability of financial reporting, effectiveness, efficiency of operation, safeguarding of assets, compliance with laws and regulations. So what are the objectives of internal control? Financial reporting, effectiveness, efficiency, asset safeguarding, compliance with laws and regulations. Just asking like that. So accounting standard compliance is part of internal control? Yes. Then you have internal control systems which facilitates effectiveness, efficiency of operation, which ensure reliability of financial reporting, which ensures compliance with laws and regulation, and help asset safeguarding objective. Yes, this is important. In fact, this topic is important. Internal control components. So before I start, again a question. You all have read audit. You all have read audit risk. I want you to tell what are the three components of audit risk. When you answer, we'll relate those components here. See, my point is, this module is king of all modules, king of all subjects. Whatever you read is going to merge here. So we have talked about law, I am talking about audit, I'll be talking about accounting standards, and tell you that whatever you are reading is going to finally merge here. It is finally going to come here. So I want you to tell me the components of audit risk and then I'll relate to this topic. Another good question on control. So I am expecting you to tell me the components of audit risk. I can give you a hint. There are three components. Now I want the answer. So I want you to tell me the three components of audit risk. Great. Good. So it is inherent risk, detection risk and control risk. ICD, inherent, control and detection. Now relate that here. You have 5 options on the screen. So I number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Control environment, risk assessment, control activity, information communication, monitoring of control. You have to tell me of these 5, which affects inherent risk most. I am repeating, of this 5, which affects inherent risk most. Inherent risk is what? The risk that is part and parcel of the transaction and the system and the way entity is operating and the way entity is working. What is inherent risk? It is part and parcel. It is there. If a thing is happening, the risk is there. This is 5. Control environment, risk assessment, control activity, information communication, monitoring of control. You have to tell me Of these five, which affects inherent risk most? Control environment, risk assessment, control activity, information communication, monitoring of control. Which affects the risk most? So your answer to this tell me where you need to learn. So I'll give a feedback also. All of the above is not the answer. You have to select one. Someone has said inherent control and detection. Let us say all of the above. No, no, no. Only one. No, no, okay. We expect from this list. Great. So someone says control environment. Perfect. The control environment is the thing that affects the inherent risk most. Control environment is what? It is management's attitude towards control. The way systems have been implemented, the way systems have been configured, that is control environment. Girish? Okay. Again? Girish, it is there? Okay. Okay. Girish, miss this chat and this question, is there a time delay? Miss chat is fast and questions are slow. Okay, thank you. So, thanks, Girish. Okay, let us continue. So, audit risk has three components: inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Inherent risk is most affected by control environment. What is control environment? The way things are planned, the way things are executed, the way systems are used, the way systems are configured, that is control environment. So these are components of internal control. Then risk assessment, checking whether how systems are working, what risk is there, implementing control, having proper communication and proper monitoring of controls. So control environment. Control environment is a top management activity. That is why inherent risk is basically relating to how top management imagines system. I want you only to read the last line of this para. I'm reading it. Control environment has a pervasive effect on overall system of control. But the point that is risk assessment. Okay, let us do it in a different manner. So you know audit risk has three components: inherent, control, and detection. So auditor, when you go for an audit, you do a risk assessment. So when you do a risk assessment, you assess the inherent risk, you assess the control risk, and based on that you decide the detection risk. So risk assessment, the question I want to ask is, risk assessment is a one-time job or continuous job? Suppose you are doing audit for 1 year. So you will only assess the risk at the start of the year, or you will ensure that you periodically reassess it. My question is, risk assessment is a one-time job or a periodic job? Okay. Your answers motivate me to go to a different subject, but I did it. Okay, so let me do it simply. There are two things that have come together. So one is regarding control environment. The control environment is my thought process. Who am I? I am the senior management. I am the board of directors. So suppose I decide to have controls which are poor. I decide to use the systems which are poor in control. It is not control risk, it is inherent risk because my system is poor. But I have got good system, I have implemented control and the control is not working, that is control risk. Take example, ATM. Reserve Bank has a mandate that every ATM must have a security guard 24 hours. This RBI has reduced this mandate, but for our example, Reserve Bank has said that every ATM has to have a security guard 24 hours. It's a good control. The control environment is good. But then, sometimes the security guard is found sleeping in the morning 4 a.m. So this is control risk. Suppose RBI has mandated, then it would be inherent risk because there is no guard. But now the mandate is there and the guard is sleeping, that is control risk. So control not there, control not imagined is control environment, inherent risk. Control there but not working is control risk. And risk assessment is assessing the gap, whether it exists or not. So risk assessment is basically done by auditor. Risk assessment auditor checks. Auditor doesn't implement. He checks whether the controls are proper, the risk is less or not. So it is not affecting, it is evaluating. Yes, so you're all smart. Someone said technical glitches are inherent risk. Yes, of online classes. So technical glitches are risky. See, your internet connection may go up, down because all world is on internet. In my house where I'm working, there are 4 people today right now who are online. Someone has a class, I am delivering a lecture, they are listening to lectures at their class level. It's tough. So, so risk assessment is a continuous process, iterative process. Great. Then control activity is the way you implement controls, communication within the organization of the controls, the way control works, very important. And monitoring controls, because see, you need to ensure that if there is a change, there is a technology has changed, you reassess the controls. Limitations of control. Yes, I've already given one example that control is implemented now. Okay, so let us do again. You have to answer in terms of the heading. The question is, limitation of internal control system affects which audit risk? Inherent risk, control risk or detection risk? Again repeating. Limitation of internal control system affects which audit risk? Inherent risk, control risk or detection risk? I'll answer the question that has been repeated. Yeah. Waiting for the answer. The question is, limitation of control affects inherent risk or control risk or detection risk? Control risk. Perfect. You got the idea now. This is a question a student has asked. She has asked, can a single control be preventive and corrective? Now see, it's a long discussion, but the basic answer is yes. But then it will require a lot of discussion, at least half hour. We don't have time. But yes, it can be like that. It is basically the way control has been put in place. So we'll take it someday later. Then ERM, enterprise risk management. So continuing risk, controls, managing that risk is ERM. First line is clear. In implementing controls, it is important to adopt a holistic and comprehensive approach. Holistic and comprehensive means considering all risks, considering all assets, considering all loss to create a control environment and ensure it is working properly. This whole is enterprise risk management. ERM may be defined as a process affected by BOD, management, other personnel applied in a strategy setting and across the enterprise designed to identify potential risks, events that may affect the entity, manage risk within its risk appetite. To the environment we are today, this word has become huge. only one question I want to ask you. The risk management is managing risk, responding to risk, ensuring that even if the risk is there, we survive, organizations survive. Now, risk can be two types, known and unknown. Known risk and unknown risk. Fire is a known risk. What about Corona? What about COVID? Now you know it is there. 4 months back it was unknown risk. So then how to respond to unknown risk? That is also ER. So we need to ensure that we take everything holistically. Known and unknown all taken together. And then benefits, great. So this is good. In fact, you can read it. So when you have ERM, you have risk appetite, strategy, you can link to growth, risk, return, give response, minimize surprise. Yes, fourth is very, very, very important. Operational surprises. See, I am an entity. I use a raw material. There is a concept of stock out. What is stock out? Stock out. Stock out is I am not able to manufacture because raw material inventory is zero. In normal circumstances, see, Corona, COVID is exceptional. The supply chain is reasonably disturbed. My raw material is not, I am manufacturing glucose biscuits. I need flour for it, refined flour, whole wheat flour for it. It is not available. So kindly answer in normal circumstances. These are exceptions. In normal cases, suppose there is a stock out. Stock out means what? That my production is stopped because the critical main raw material is not available. If I am of the company, I'll fire. Whom I'll fire? My point is fourth. Minimize operational surprise and losses. My manufacturing is a stock. Raw material was not there. I am the managing director. I need to fire an employee for this loss. Who I will fire? I am on point number 4. Minimize operational surprise and losses. Who is the first person I will fire if there is a problem? Production is lost, normal situation. Who is guilty of this mistake? Okay. While firing, probably my purchase manager, he had to ensure that reorder levels are set. Probably my stores, you said in the morning session that the message of reorder level will go to purchase manager or production manager or stores manager. So whoever was the person in the organization who was responsible for defining and implementing reorder level, he or she will be the first person to be fired. Why? Point number 4. Minimize operational surprises and losses. It's a known fact. Reorder level is a calculated figure. It was there in system. How I lost due to non-existence of a reorder level. That is enterprise risk management. Okay. Then ERM has 8 interrelated components. Good. Okay. So these are the components: internal environment, objective setting, event identification, risk assessment, risk response, control activities, communication and monitoring. These are very, very important, very critical. Based on this, you ensure that systems work properly, and each has its own relevance to the whole enterprise risk management framework, ER. Then flowchart, one topic that you want to learn. See, because time is very short, to me, flowchart is very, very important for practical life and for exam also. So what I'll be basically trying to share some techniques with you. Okay, we'll try to have a live session with you, if possible. Okay. So flowchart I'll be taking at the end of this session. This is the last part of today's session. Now, so flowchart will take at the end. Risk and controls for specific business processes. So in the module itself, because you have the module, we'll be basically doing module. Controls need to be placed at different levels, at configuration level and master level and transaction level. So configuration level control is basically what? So I'll take with an example. In Tally, there is a sundry debtors group. In Tally, there is a sundry creditors group. So we are linking 2 or 3 topics. Okay, so I'll keep it slow for you to help you understand the concept. Okay, the details are in the module, there are numbers given. So we'll not be able to discuss the table, but I'll clear you the concept how you need to read those tables. So in Tally, there are groups, creditors, sundry creditors. In Tally, you can define ledgers. So suppose I am defining a debtor. Debtor means to whom I am selling my product, to whom I am selling my services. So my debtor's name is A. So when I define the same in Tally, I go to the account master, pick A, then Tally asks me to find which group the ledger lies. So I say sundry debtors because A is in sundry debtor. And then go ahead. Now, suppose A is to be defined as a debtor and A has been defined as a creditor. It's a mistake. So this mistake is configuration mistake or master mistake or transaction mistake. I want you to tell me that I had to define debtor A. I have by mistake defined debtor A in creditor group. The mistake is configuration, master, or transaction. Waiting for answer. Yeah. So yes, a student has emphasized her question. I'll come to that question. It's a configuration issue. Mapping of accounts, chart of accounts is configuration. See how important it is. Now see, I want to relate this to something else. See, in Tally, when you are passing a cash voucher, in Tally, when you are passing a cash voucher, it gives, and if the cash voucher amount will lead to cash balance being negative, in Tally, I'm discussing 2-3 concepts and then we'll link together. Okay. So first I talked about a debtor defined as a creditor. It's a configuration mistake. Now the second point. In Tally, when you pass a cash voucher and after passing the cash voucher, the cash balance may turn negative. Tally gives you a warning that you are passing the voucher, cash will be negative. This warning is preventive, detective or corrective. When you are passing a cash voucher, Tally gives you a warning that if you pass the cash voucher, the balance will be negative, cash balance. So is it preventive control, detective control or corrective control? This preventive control. So Tally gives you a warning that cash balance will be negative. But because Tally does not restrict, it allows you to pass even with the warning to save the transaction. Now your cash balance is negative. So cash balance has become negative. This negative cash balance is reported in Tally in something called as an exception report. We talked about it earlier. exception report. Exception means the transaction is not as per general rule. Cash cannot be negative in your pocket. If you have 100 rupees, you can only expend 100 in cash. But in Tally, if your cash balance is 100, you can expend 150. It will show minus 50 is cash. This is exception. So it gives exception. Now what will happen when you create a configuration error? A as a debtor has been created in creditor. Every time you do a sale to A, it will be exception. Because creditor is always going to a credit balance, but sale will always create a debit balance. So configuration errors are so important. That is. Then masters, yes, in fact, post GST, Tally master creation is very, very important. Update GST numbers of all vendors, the customers. There is a KYC process. We'll talk in bank module 5, know your customer. So in fact, every entity now needs to follow KYC for their customer. So if you are creating a new customer or a new vendor, then you need to ensure that all details are taken. You put the GST number, it's a master issue. The master is incorrect. And transaction level mistakes mean maybe 100 rupees sales books at 1000 rupees, that is transaction level mistakes. So these are the 3 mistakes. This is how you need to read them in module. Now let me answer the question because a student here. Okay. Yeah. See, it's our mistake. Okay, good. So the point that the student she wants to make it that because of course, see, that is why systems will mean there has to be concept of recheck of whatever is done, and that is what is the point being made. So you go for audit. You will go for audit someday. We go audit, start vouching. We never ask for configuration setting. Good point. Always ask for configuration setting. Tell the owner of the accountant that please show the configuration setting and then I'll start the audit. So I've told you 2 things before you start. First, create flowchart of the process you are going to audit. Ask for configuration settings. Then another question has been repeated, so let me answer that one. Yes, the point being made was regarding risk assessment that control changes are made again and again. So risk assessment has to be a periodic concept. Yes, so it has to be periodic. Yes, good. Okay. Flowcharts, I'll tell you how you can do it. See, to me, flowcharts is pure maths. Okay. I'll tell you something more interesting about flowchart. You will enjoy it. Okay. So business process, risk and control. So this is how you go through all the things given in the module. Then these are configurations. See, this is very, very important. Please read this. Means this is core. This is core to success of audit being done by chartered accountants in the month. Which audit all chartered accountants are doing in May month across India? Which audit all CAs are doing today, now? Can you give that answer? All C, there is a lockdown, Corona, COVID, work from home. All chartered accountants are doing one basic audit across India. What is that audit? Can you name it? Then I link that to here. Okay, I am answering configuration. I'll bring it in. With this example that I am putting, the concept of configuration will be clear to you. You answer, which audit chartered accountants are doing today across India? I wait for answer. All CAs doing audit, which audit? Now. And then I'll tell you, online audit. Digital stat, yes, bank audit. So all CAs are doing bank audit. Now bank audit, all banks use core banking solution, your Charter 5. See how things are so interlinked. You know this creation of customer type, it's a configuration setting. If a CA does not validate configuration setting for a customer type means what? The nature of advance, whether priority or non-priority. See in audit, have you read this word risk-weighted asset? Have you read the word in audit RWA, risk-weighted asset? Say yes or no. Have you read this word risk-weighted asset in audit RWA? Yeah, I'm on this question. I'm between configuration and master. I tell you, this example will be clear. Please answer this question. Have you read this word risk-weighted assets, RWA, in audit, bank audit? Yes or RWA in bank audit. Whether you have read risk-weighted assets, say yes or no. Yes, great. Now see, this is phenomenal. Auditors need to see the customer type classification. Customer type is configuration. See, the relevance is very important. If a customer is, say, for example, I have taken a loan for a shop. Okay, I have taken a loan for a shop. It's a commercial loan. Reserve Bank has a mandate that all commercial real estate property will be subject to a risk 125%. Means when bank is going to calculate RWA, the risk weight will be 125. Suppose my loan amount is 100. What I have done? I have taken a loan for a shop in a commercial complex. Reserve Bank says that all commercial real estate will be risk weight of 125%. That means when bank's capital adequacy will be calculated, this will be 10% of the risk weighted assets. I think it is 11. So let us take 10. Bank's capital has to be 10% of the risk weighted asset. Now, I have bought a shop of 100. It is in commercial establishment. It's a shop. The risk weight asset is 125. The capital to be maintained by a bank against my loan is 12.50. 10% of risk weighted assets. My loan amount is 100. Commercial loan. Risk weight is 125. Okay. 10%. Now, what the banker has done by error or by intention, leave it. Banker has incorrectly classified the loan as a housing loan. Means the shop is classified as a housing loan. The risk weight of a housing loan is 50%. What is happening? I have taken 100 rupees as a loan. The risk weight is 50%. The capital required is 5 only. Actually, it has to be 12.5. The bank is calculating 5. There will be capital erosion. This is customer type. This is configuration mistake. Now in the same account. So that is configuration. And in the same account, my rate of interest for commercial shop has to be 14%. 1-4. My rate of interest has to be 14%. But the banker has incorrectly tagged 12%. The rate of interest is 14%. Banker has given 12%. This is master. This is master. So that was configuration. So the basic definition is configuration and content within definition is master. Okay. Yeah, so risk-weighted assets you can read in accounting, in bank audit, multiple locations. Great. So the key differences, the basic data, inherent data is master and the top definition is configuration. Then transaction. So leave it. We don't have time. I request you, because we are there for today, tomorrow, please go through these. I told you how to read. If you have queries, then I'll answer the queries specifically once you have read this from the module. Okay. Then regulatory compliance, and then we'll go to flowchart. So we'll all take this from the module. I'll be referring to important questions. So we'll take one by one. Companies Act, there are two sections discussed in the module, 134 and 143. 134 is about that our council member also referred to about internal financial control. So to have proper financial control is responsibility of whom? The management, top management of any entity. They need to have proper financial controls. Okay. 143 defines powers and duties of auditors. So auditor is also responsible to ensure that the controls are properly checked. Then institute mandates, our guidance note on F3s, our institute defines management responsibility of controls, auditor's responsibility, and corporate governance requirement. Now see, there's only one point that I want to make. I want to link all these three. Let us go to Tally itself. I'm taking example from Tally. In Tally, entry configuration, it asks you how you want to value inventory. In Tally, when you go to inventory configuration, it asks you how you want to do inventory valuation. In Tally, there are 8 different methods of valuation given. In Tally, there are 8 different methods of valuation given. Of the 8, only 3 are in compliance with accounting standard. Of those 8, only 3 are in compliance with accounting standard 2, valuation of inventory. What are those 3? FIFO, weighted average, and the defined cost, specific cost. So those 3 are as per accounting standard 2, but there are 8 methods. Now the point is, who is responsible to ensure that the valuation method is selected correctly? Who is responsible? Top management. Where it is written in Companies Act. What institute says that it is management's responsibility. So this is how regulations are implemented in systems. The point that I'm making is, whatever regulations are there, they will have to be implemented in the system. In Tally. Now this tells you that Tally configuration is part of corporate governance requirement, because valuation of inventory as per accounting standard is responsibility of the governance, those charged with governance. That is very important. That's why you need to understand how systems are configured. That is. The next important is Information Technology Act. There's a huge list in the module about computer related frauds given. I request you to please go through it. We are not going through that list. We are not reading them. You can ask specific. Okay. So I'm taking the Tally example again. What basically we want to relate the regulations, institute mandate, corporate governance requirement into system. See, the point is why you need to read these, why regulations are important. When we talked about business process automation, the second point was this only, that you need to understand what you want to do, and then you need to understand the rules and regulation to do it. So suppose I decide that I will do my inventory valuation through Tally, then I need to know what the rules are. So accounting standard says valuation of inventory has to be cost NRV, whichever is less. In Tally, inventory valuation has 3 methods which are in compliance with accounting standard 2. Balance 5 methods are not in compliance with accounting standard. So we are merging all 3. Companies Act says accounting standard compliance is responsibility of management. How management is going to ensure accounting standards are complied? By properly configuring Tally. When management configures Tally, it is meeting the corporate governance requirement. Then our institute comes. Our institute says that it is management's responsibility to ensure valuation of inventory is correctly defined. Then what is auditor's responsibility? To see that the valuation method is correctly defined. All 3 regulations brought together in Tally. So this is why the importance of regulations are there. Then specific regulation you can relate. I basically to relate all these regulations with technology while you are reading it. That is the question. You need to know Internal Financial Control in Companies Act that you have read separately in other chapters, other module. Institute mandates you have read very thoroughly in auditing standards, and corporate governance requirements are also part of your law lecture. So all these three need to be read in context that they are affecting the way system operates. That is important. Then Information Technology Act, there are huge list of computer crimes given. It's huge, large. You can ask specific question from the module. You can just tap that this is not clear. So if I get more queries on a point, I'll share that. I'll explain that. Then last part from on this part is advantages of cyber law. Yes, India is one of the few countries which brought Information Technology Act in the year 2000. It has helped regulate a lot of things in India, and we are a technology-driven economy. Our major exports, top three exports are softwares and technology, so law helps us do it better. The next issue is privacy. I've already talked about that. Someone asked me that sharing data risk. Yes, it has always has a risk. Practically and from you. Now see, so I want you to open the module. We'll do it from the module itself. Paper 50. So by God's grace, by grace of my teacher, not my effort, I could get 47. I know where I lost my 3 marks. I know it today also. I regret it. But I know I made the flow chart in a manner I wanted, and I got full marks because I know where I lost my 3 marks. So the third is make the flow chart as you understand, as per your understanding. Try to do it. We are together. We'll find more time to discuss flow chart. More practical I'll share. So today I only shared 3 with you. Input, process, output. Write it separately. They basically 5 symbols to be used only. And flow chart is pure mathematics. So start imagining. See, before you start making the flow chart in exam, start imagining the same in your mind and then start making it. Okay. Now to the questions. The last part of today's session now. I'm sharing the screen again. Stop sharing. Is it now visible screen? Okay, thank you. So flowcharts I have told, we'll talk more about flowcharts. We are there. There will be some time. Because ideally we had to have only 2 hours for a session, but then I understand you need to understand better. So I'll manage because see what I am basically doing, I am interlinking all the 5 chapters. So this will allow us to take a consolidated view. So we will be able to save time from other chapters and we'll be doing everything thoroughly. Okay. So last part, questions. You can put more questions. I'm calling down all the queries from start to end that you've asked today. Okay. We have done n number of MCQs, so that part is done. So you can put your questions for chapter 1 now. There are 2 or 3 questions I am taking. Yeah. So a student has asked, cyber pornography and cyber terrorism. See, pornography is sharing any obscene message is pornography. Terrorism is threatening person through internet is terrorism. Just for example, the attack on World Trade Center that happened that killed more than 3,000 people in the attack and it resulted in bankruptcies across the world, huge human loss, huge property loss. There is a wild guess, no one knows for sure, but the guess is that due to the attack on World Trade Center, that time, the projected economic loss was beyond the human loss. Human loss is invaluable. the economic loss projected was US dollar 2 trillion then. We are not talking of today's money, then money. $2 trillion then would be $1 trillion is if I take that rate, or let me take today's rate. $2 trillion in today's rate is 1 crore 50 lakh crores. Have I put it? I am using crores 2 times. 1 crore 50 lakh crore rupees. That is virtually equal to India's GDP. That was the loss then. So that attack on World Trade Center was huge attack. Now tracing was done, tracking was done across the world to see it must have been planned, so huge planning must have gone into. So what was found, the planning was there, but then the terrorists had to communicate. They couldn't communicate through normal channels because that will be tracked by spy agencies. So they used internet to communicate. So how they were communicating? So on internet you go to a site that's selling flowers. On this flower selling site, on page number 15, there is a rose flower. On the rose flower, petal number 10. On a flower's petal number 10, there was a message to be communicated with the terrorists. That is cyber terrorism. So using technology to promote terrorism is cyber terrorism. Okay. Then, yeah. See, process-centric organization basically means an organization that is focused on documenting processes and doing. A process-centric organization will always achieve success because when you document processes, you document vulnerabilities. When you document vulnerabilities, you will create mitigation. When you create mitigations, you establish controls. So process documentation leads to identification of vulnerabilities, weaknesses. That will lead to implementation of controls that will mitigate the risk due to unseen, unforeseen losses. That is process centric. Then, okay, someone has asked SPDR. Yeah, okay, it's a very important law. It is basically about securing the personal data. In fact, that has become one of the critical laws across the organization. Our Supreme Court has already passed a detailed decision on this specific point of law, sensitive personal data information. Now see what is happening. You must have seen the Facebook and computer analytics case across you on Google during the day. Run through this Facebook and computer analytics case. That will tell you the relevance of sensitive personal data information is protection. So whatever data you give to a website, what use that data is put to has to be documented and controlled. That is okay. EIS are high risk, high return systems. Okay, so see what happens that when you use technology, so I told you that technology creates efficiency, economy, effectiveness, but you need to be aware about the risk. So if you implement technology without being aware about risk, it can be high risk. I'll tell you very practical examples. One of my CA friends, he called me and told that his system has been hit by ransomware. You know what is a ransomware? Is a fraud. Ransomware is a software that hackers install on your system. The hackers encrypt your system, and if you want all data, you have to pay to the hackers, जिसको वसूली कहें, that is ransom. They ask for ransom money to be paid in bitcoins or cyber currency. So that's what he did. He created something called as a remote desktop without creating proper firewalls. Firewall is a discussion we are going to have. Firewall is a security. So he created a remote desktop without firewall. Now he is using technology for betterment, but then he didn't create a security. So that is EIS has returns as well as risk. You have asked? Yes. Rate wrongly fed is a master issue. Now what is the transaction? Very good. I love this question. Suppose the rate of interest in my example was to be fed was 14%. It is incorrectly fed as 12%. That means bank is charging 2% less rate. this calculation is done for transaction journal called in the bank. So this transaction is at 12%. Actually, it had to be at 14%. So this is transaction error. Okay. So I just scroll up. There's one more query I think I wanted to ask. Configuration master we have done. Okay. So there is a question in the book, as it CA can validate configuration or a CISA. So let me look at the question to be able to. I've got my answer, but let me check it. Okay. To me, a CA who has system knowledge can do a configuration setting, no issues. I'll just come to the end of the slide. Achha, sorry. Knowledge. Any more? Oh, source code theft. Okay. Let Girish, we are at 10. How many minutes more we have? Okay, so students, I am keeping this. There is one query that I have not answered. Source code theft. So we'll take in the next session. Thank you. Good day. Prepare yourself. We'll have next session at 7 p.m. in the evening. Good day. Bye. Yeah.